Many Christians going into college will hear their atheist professor say something like, "The Bible is a myth. There's so many miracles in it, it's basically a fairy tale." Hearing this, you'll probably be shaken up and not know how to respond. But before that happens, here's a reason why atheism ultimately fails as a belief. It assumes that God doesn't exist before it investigates if miracles are possible. But it's the Bible that shows us it's only because God exists that miracles are possible. But before we tackle these points, let's simply ask, what do atheists believe? Atheism is essentially a disbelief in God. What most atheists do believe in is naturalism, that nature is all there is. In other words, what you see is what you get. The mountains, the trees, oceans, planets, stars, the universe is all there is. In other words, there is no supernatural, no souls, no spirits, and no God. Because atheists believe that nature is all there is, science is the main method they use to understand reality. And as a result, many scientists find their meaning in life by searching the unknown and providing humanity with new ways to thrive and evolve. Here's the problem. When atheist scientists survey the data and evidence about the universe, they only look at some of the evidence, not all of it. What do I mean by that? Well, they're looking at the evidence only in nature to tell them everything about existence. They're making a prejudgment that only nature exists, and so they exclude any idea or possibility of the supernatural. At the core of it, many atheists assume that God doesn't exist before they investigate the supernatural. So if miracles happen, they'll immediately think of how to explain it in a strictly natural way. Here's an example. Many times in my Christian walk, I've heard testimonies of people who are not going to have the money to pay for rent or a certain medical bill. They'll need something like $300. Then they'll pray for help, and in some instances, they'll miraculously find an envelope at their door containing the exact amount of money they needed. This is a miracle, especially since the money came in the context of prayer. If you've been a Christian for long, you've probably heard of many miracles, but an atheist would find a natural explanation for it. Like the neighbor heard the person praying and so felt bad and provided the money anonymously. Or the person praying forgot that they had just mentioned it to a friend, and the friend provided the money. Here's the thing, just because an atheist can come up with a natural explanation doesn't mean it best accounts for what happened. In fact, Christian author Lee Strobel took a survey in the United States that concluded over 94 million people said that they've had some type of an experience that can only be described as a miracle. In other words, 94 million say that there's no natural explanation for the experience they had. So what's the point? As Christians, if we're challenged by the idea that the Bible is a myth because there's miracles in it, don't be discouraged. Atheists say that miracles are impossible because they assume God doesn't exist. But what if we assume that God does exist? Then would miracles be possible? This is one of the points that the Bible makes. One of the most ridiculed stories by skeptics is the story of Exodus, where God saves Moses and the Hebrew people by bringing plagues to Egypt and parting the Red Sea. The atheist doesn't see in natural terms how this could be possible, but this narrative is trying to tell us why miracles are possible. In Deuteronomy 26, 6-8, the author writes, "And the Egyptians treated us harshly and humiliated us and laid on us hard labor. Then we cried to the Lord, the God of our fathers, and the Lord heard our voice, saw our affliction and our toil and our oppression. And the Lord brought us out of Egypt with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm, with great deeds of terror, with signs and wonders." You see, these miracles happened because God was revealing that He really does exist. As Moses says to Pharaoh, "These things happen so that you may know that there is no one like the Lord our God." Because God is all-powerful, not bound by the laws of nature, miracles are no problem for Him. And He shows this consistently throughout the Bible and in our modern times. So when we take an honest look at the evidence, we will see that God exists and has indeed worked in supernatural ways. Let's review. Number one, when you're faced with a challenge that the Bible is a myth, don't be shaken by it. This challenge comes from a place of cynicism towards the Bible and miracles. Number two, if God exists, then miracles are no problem. God is spirit and He created nature, and so He can work in and through it as He pleases. Number three, the Bible writes of how God revealed Himself through His miracles giving more reasons to believe in Him than not. Christians can take the knowledge of the Bible and the experiences we have to this day to show that miracles happen because God has authority over both the natural and the supernatural.